And the other thing I do want to mix in is everyone knows the Spider-Man meme, right? Mm-hmm. You know, who's over here, I'm over here, you're over here, we're all the same person. Is that where we're at with Michigan and Ohio State? Like, can Michigan fans not put OSU on a pedestal? Can we not act like somehow these two teams are different? They're actually quite similar in that I don't think either of them special. And I may have to walk back what I thought was going to be a pretty solid take about 6 weeks ago. I thought the winner of this game was going to win the Natty. But all these two teams have done is fail to impress at every turn. Mm-hmm. And whether it's Michigan mailing in every first half, to the escape act against Illinois, to Ohio State looking ragged on the road against PSU, then blowing them out, but then ragged against Maryland, looking bad against Northwestern. You know what, guys? Where are we at as we begin Michigan OSU week? Because I do think it's the Spider-Man meme. Both these teams have major flaws. For Michigan, it is red zone, it is the first half, and it is any semblance of a dynamic passing game. For Ohio State, it's a consistent running game. It is any form of defense that I care about because they have slid downhill the last month. And you end up in a place where I look at this and I go, who's who? Is that crazy, Rico?
No, I don't think it's crazy at all because I do think that not only that, but I think that we've been sold a bill of goods that maybe these two teams aren't as good as Fox has hyped them up to be the entire season. Because you're right. It's like, okay, Michigan can drive down and they can run the ball. They got the better offensive line, and they'll get down to the goal line and they'll kick a field goal. Well, you're not beating Ohio State kicking field goals. So now I go back, well, Ohio State, well, what are you going to do? You're going to be able to run the ball? Probably not. So now it comes up to big plays. Honestly, yeah, you're right. The Spider-Man meme are these two teams. They're the same. Neither has impressed all season long. Neither has played anybody but Penn State. That's what they can hang their hat on. But, yeah, I don't know what they are. And, no, I don't think that as of now I'm still giving the edge to Ohio State because I need to see Michigan actually score touchdowns when they get in the red zone.
Here's the other thing. Now Corum is dinged up. Donovan Edwards is a mystery. You look at Ohio State. I'm done waiting for Jackson Smith-Njigba. This whole idea he's coming back. He came back for 4 plays. He's dead again, but he's coming back. Guys, we're in the last week. Ohio State doesn't run some simplistic passing offense. If you don't have rhythm, if you don't have reps, I don't know how you're just parachuting in if they're essentially not practicing for a year. It's the Spider-Man meme to me. But go ahead, Rico. You said you had a theory on Smith-Njigba?
I do, Mike. I'm really believing that he may be preparing to play a 4-game season. He's going to be a top 10 draft pick. I don't think that he was that hurt. It's because Ryan Day has no clue to what's going on, which leads me to believe that Jackson Smith-Njigba is holding all the cards. And, yeah, I think he's going to show up Saturday. And he may not even have to play in the Big Ten championship game and then show up and play 2 games, hopefully, in the college football playoffs and then go ahead and start his pro career.
Really?
Why risk getting injured playing all of these other dog crap teams? You got dinged up early, and rather than hurt your draft status, I think some people pulled him aside and said, hey, Jackson, hold on a minute, Bubby. Why don't you just wait, play against Michigan when your team needs you, and play all the games after that? But let's face it, if they play Iowa, you don't need him for that. I think he's saving himself, and this may be yet the latest thing that you'll see from college athletes who he didn't quite pull a Bosa, but I do think he sat out most of the season, and he's going to play in these final games.
Yeah, in fairness to Nick Bosa, he got hurt against TCU and, blew his groin out.
Right.
I mean, he had surgery. We don't even know what's going on with Jackson Smith-Njigba.
No, he got injured in, play 3 early
against
in the
Notre
season.
Dame, fell awkwardly. Right.
And, yeah, he came back sparingly. He would come in for a play, re-injured, come back again in another game until it got to the point where they just moved on and said, you know what, we're just going to act like he's not going to be here. And once again, Ryan Day's not even playing the coy, well, we'll have to see. It's a game-time decision. He's throwing his hands up like, why don't you go ask him because I have no clue.
David, you buying or selling Rico's theory?
I don't want to buy it.
That's not what I asked you.
Because I want to believe that he will play when he's healthy and not just sitting out a season worried about his NFL career. This team needs him. This team needs him.
David, they're 11-0. Did they really need him?
Well, it's a bad Big Ten, but yes, they need him, okay? Yes, they need him.
They're 11-0, David. They did it without him.
I don't want to believe that. I'm not believing it. I'm not going with it. You can have it. I'm not.
Well, I want to know from Michigan and Ohio State fans. I mean, both of them listen to the damn show. Are you starting to get a sense? Look, I'll give you an example. The look-ahead line at the start of the year was 16.5. OSU laying the points. Then it went down to 12.5. Then it went down to 9.5. 8.5. You're looking at currently 7.5 across the board. Guys, the bottom line is they put the number out there to balance the money, and it is an Ohio State home game. But don't you just feel like this is like the Spider-Man meme? Everyone started the year thinking that OSU was incredibly special and that you needed to make a quarterback change to live up to them. Well, here's the problem. You made the change. I don't know that Ohio State is special. And by the way, the kid you put in there is not special. Like, that's the most underreported thing on the planet. Now, maybe JJ has a coming out party in C-Bus and becomes a legend. That's why we play the games. But I've seen next to nothing from him that somehow corroborates the reports that he is part Mahomes, part Josh Allen, part, Marty McFly. This is, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like he's going to have lightning bolts coming out of his car. What is it?
I understand. And here's the other thing. And this may have happened through a fortunate mishap, but Ohio State may have found their running game and their rushing attack in true freshman Dalen Hayden, because he actually went out there, ran between the tackles for 150 yards, 3 touchdowns in their game last week against Maryland. That was something I really haven't seen consistently done at Ohio State all season long, even when you had the big boys playing. The true freshman may have lucked into a position where if I'm Ryan Day, I'm rolling with him to start the game.
248-539-9797. So you got some Michigan State in there. You've got some Michigan. Everyone's welcome. Let's get football in the mix. I want to get to the people. Let's go over to Jimmy. He's held the longest, 97.1. What's up, Jimmy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
Thanks for having me on. Mike, I'd love to talk Giants with you, but I don't want to exacerbate your stomach bug.
Please don't.
Please. You can only talk Giants or Michigan State. You can't do both.
Why is that game got to be on Thanksgiving Day? Why?
And I just, to elevate your sentiment, this is a program-defining loss for Mel Tucker's MSU as it stands right now.
Yeah.
And you leave yourself with a lot of question marks going into the year. You could have stuck your foot in the ground, built upon. Now, I know Illinois in the red zone is like Austin Powers backing up the truck, but you put your foot in the ground, you build on Indiana, and then you play with house money going into Penn State, and you can stick it to James Franklin.
That's right.
So now you leave yourself up to all this offseason debate: who's he going to fire, who's he going to retain, and you're not going to get much by the spring game. And then September rolls around again, and if you're 3-4 games in, clamoring for 7-5, you're back where you started.
You know what, Jimmy? You're not that far off, because let's just say they won that week and they beat James Franklin and Penn State. I think a lot of people saying you got to fire folks, it would have died down, because they had the potential to win 8 games in a year that looked awful at the very beginning, that you could say, okay, you know what? Maybe this coach learned their lesson. Maybe they got better over time. But, yeah, all that goodwill just went out the window.
Absolutely.
And guess what, Jimmy? He shouldn't be let off the hook. Scotty Hazelton and this pass defense were so bad. And you know the other name that needs to be discussed? I don't want to geek out here, but I am so tired of Harlan Barnett being treated like Jesus Christ superstar. You know what? If Harlan Barnett's any damn good, then the DBs would be good. And Mel wouldn't have to take over coaching the DBs. Oh, but he's a Spartan legend. Great. Here's an artisanal pretzel outside of Section 8 and a pink slip.
There's a
right, that doesn't get you stops on third down.
No.
So.
Oh, but he's the bang stick. Great. Thank you for your service. Rico, seriously. They treat this guy like he's Coach Prime.
Because, Mike, he was the architect of the no-fly. Well, he continued the no-fly zone. He was the DB's coach when Michigan State was shutting down the country.
Great. Now he operates a brothel. Everyone scores. The no-fly zone's turned into the pleasure place. Honestly, explain it. Like, enough's enough. If you got to take over for your DB coach because the DB coach ain't doing anything, then what? Everybody wants to throw Scotty Santa Claus under the bus. Fine. But Harlan Barnett's got to help pack the stuff. No?
Mike, I feel you on this. Yeah, I mean, other than Chuck Brantley, yeah, all your other DBs are very inconsistent.
I've had it. Spartan legend. I don't care.
Artisanal pretzel.
Here you go. Here, make him the Grand Marshal at the homecoming parade. There's your reward. You've made a lot of money here. Darquez Denard's not walking through that door. Right now, I'd settle for Bernie Lomax duct taped to a chair. Wheel him on out there. Just before the snap, have Xavier Henderson push him towards the line of scrimmage in press cover. Something. 248-539-9797. Go ahead.
But once again, Mike, he's one of their big recruiters. So that's what's going to hurt.
Rico? Mel's the CEO. He's the guy that makes the money. You got to make tough decisions. For this team to lose the game they lost Saturday, get out. For this defense to look the way it does, for the offense to look the way, for the special teams, don't tell me that this is an acceptable quality control element while the players are playing really hard for you. They are.
No, I do, because it feels like the end of that half at Ohio State when John L. said the players are playing and the coaches are screwing it up. It's exactly how it feels. And, yeah, this may be one of those things in the offseason that Tucker just has to go ahead and kill one of the hostages to show all the other coaches, I mean business here, people. Do your job or you're next.
I mean, little blood in the drinking fountain never hurt anybody.
Wow.
It's healthy to fire somebody every once in a while. I mean, it shows everybody else in the office, you better keep it up.
Right, don't get comfortable.
Sorry, I apologize. That's like a real-life opinion.